Brothers, gentlemen, I got a serious question to ask y'all. But before we get into that, welcome to the first episode of Man Cave Conversations. I'm your host, Mr. Frederick Media. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in and hanging out with us tonight. Like I said, I got a question for y'all. But before we do that, before we even ask this particular question, let me hit y'all with this first. Hey, what's happening? What's happening, y'all? What's good? What's good? Welcome. Like I said earlier, before the show started, welcome to Man Cave Conversations. This is a show where we, as men, have these conversations and we talk about them, but we talk about them and we talk about them. This is a solution-based type show. We talk about it. Yes, we gonna talk about a problem, but we also gonna try to offer some solutions. So join me as we go down these roads, these pathways, these journeys that we as men take, and we try to figure out number one why we these pathways, but also figure out a solution to whatever problems that ails us. This is a show that comes. This is a show from a man's point of view. Now, don't get me wrong, women are invited, and you guys have your point of view, but primarily, this is a safe space for us as men to talk about Lord knows whatever. Because trust me, we need safe spaces for us to communicate and for us to talk. First and foremost, thank you guys for did. If you guys are watching from, if you guys are watching, well, however you guys are watching from the YouTube, from our YouTube channel, from our Facebook channel, If you guys are watching this on Twitch, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for just tapping in with us and wanting to have this conversation with us. Yo, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to meet us in the chat and ask questions, or better yet, offer comments. So, without any further delay, I got some friends now. Before we get into this, the first time that I had this conversation, it was a monologue, and it didn't feel right to me, because even though I brought out some excellent points and some excellent things like that, it was a monologue, and I didn't want it to be a monologue. So I got some friends with me today. I got some friends with me tonight. And we're gonna have the same conversation I had last week. But now I got some friends with me. And now we're gonna have a real conversation. Now we're gonna break this down. And then we go talk about it a little bit more. Whatever we don't get to tonight was definitely gonna be a part 2. So most definitely tap in with that. So without any further delay, let me bring my guy, the guest that I have up here. First off, I got my man TB Scott, my brother Skylar Randall, and my man Frankly Speaking. Gentlemen, first and foremost, I want to tell y'all, thank y'all for being here tonight.
Hey, what's happening?
Thank y'all for being here tonight. Thank y'all for allowing yourselves to be open for this conversation today. I appreciate that.
Thanks for having us on here.
Yes, sir. So,
hey, anytime.
The reason that we're having this conversation, look, y'all. The reason we're having this conversation is based upon, I think everybody who's anybody saw this, is based upon the interaction that T.I. and his son King had a while back. And King said he stand on business. Okay, cool. That's all right. I think all of us know what should happen with that child after that point. But we'll get into that in a little bit. But prompted a bigger question for me. And the question really is, what do we stand on as men? That's the bigger question. But it prompted smaller questions. And those are the questions that we go get into. Those are the questions we go get into right now. So without any further delay, let's hop right into it. So the first question I want to discuss tonight, man, and any one of y'all can hop in at any point in time. So the first question I want to talk about tonight is principles. Are we standing on true principles, or are we standing on a bunch of bullshit? So any one of us can go. Any one of y'all can go in, can get in, and we'll just start off that way.
I'm gonna say it all depends on the man, because every man got his own. We all got different backgrounds. We're all raised different ways. You know, every man has his own set of principles that he stands on. Like back in The Wire, when Omar says he never pulled his gun on a working man, and Bunk told him every man got to have a code. Every man got to have a code. It's just that what is your specific code? I think in a situation like with T.I.'s son, he's on the new era, nigga, of what business is, and we don't know what that business is. They just standing on anything. But what is your personal? Like we discussed earlier, it could be your family that you standing on business. Nothing's going to happen to your family. You standing on business when it comes to your career and your way of life. Or you can stand on some bullshit, but that's an individual question you gotta ask individual men, because everybody stands on their own square.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Skylar, frankly, y'all got what y'all want to add?
Yeah, that's true. Look at it like, hey, look at it like this. Break it down. You know what I'm saying? Standing on business. You gonna stand up for something, or you gonna lay down for anything. And then depending on what type of business that you're gonna stand on, you know what I mean, as a man, you know what I mean, everybody got their own different perspectives. And then when you talk about principles, you know what I'm saying? You know, principles when we were raised, you know what I'm saying, totally different principles now, because principles were taught because coattails were pulled. You know what I mean? Coattails ain't being pulled these days, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know what I mean, a lot of young cats these days, you know, you can approach some, but you can't approach others because you know what I mean, fear has been set not only through society but through social media.
Yeah, for sure. What you got, Skylar?
True that. I agree. Like TB Scott said, you know, it really depends on the individual of the man. Now, me personally, how I value men, I believe men are valued based off the foundation that they was built upon on. And I think their principles and their morals are also, it testifies against whatever foundation that you was built on. You know what I'm saying? Prime example, like for me, I grew up in the hood, but I knew God as well. So I had a choice.
Right.
I had to choose on which foundation was I going to settle on, because at the end of the day, whatever foundation that you stand on is going to get tested, just like a house, right? Just like a house get tested. If a strong storm or tornado, you stay in Oklahoma or anywhere, it's going to test the foundation of that house. And if that foundation is weak, then your house going to fall. So for my thing is, whatever foundation that a man stand on, he have to make sure that it's a stable foundation. Because if not, it's going to be tested, just like gold. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, your coattail gonna get pulled. That's the testing right now. Your coattail gonna get pulled. So I truly believe that every individual man, truly, his principle is based on the foundation. And if his foundation or whatever he principle on, whether it's money, whether it's this or that, if it doesn't last, it's not gonna last when it gets tested. And that's my approach on that, as far as that question.
Okay,
so go ahead. I was gonna add in there real quick. It's kind of like based on what Skylar was saying. It's like back when these little young dudes started rapping and they doing all that gangster shit. And someone always tell them, if you're really not about that life, when you go to these cities and do these shows, it's gonna be some real niggas there that's gonna test to see if you really about what you rapping.
True that. True.
Absolutely.
So, but let me throw this little wrinkle in there for y'all though. So.
True.
We all say that every
True.
man's principles are different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but what about the basic principles that all men should have? You know, honor, respect, loyalty, and fealty. Should those particular principles be already ingrained in us, or is that something that's not taught?
Well, you know, you break down, you know what I'm saying, you're talking about loyalty, man. You know what I mean? You're talking about really testing the waters with some of these cats out here, whereas, you know, I'm going to say it just like that, man. For the water said, you know what I mean? You never taught bread to birds and you never taught cheese to rats. You know what I'm saying? So you got to watch your association, man. You got to watch your circle. And then, you know, when we start talking about principle, man, you know, just like when cats talk about, you know, putting God into it, you know what I mean? I was raised around men that supported families and everything, you know, for the father figure. But then when I was out in the street, you know what I mean? Then you had the street perspective of God, you know what I'm saying? As far as, you know, being right there, you know what I'm saying, as the foundation, you know what I mean? Like I said, you know, perspective, you know what I mean, is very strong. And especially, you know what I mean, you can't fault a person for not knowing something when they've never been exposed to it. You know what I mean? And then, you know, when you get on, you know what I mean, as far as, you know, with T.I. and King, you know, with that right there, you know what I mean, that looks at as far as the foundation of far as respect. And, you know, we come up in a family where, you know what I mean, children are, you know what I'm saying, you know, seen and not heard. So, you know, being out in the public like that, you know what I mean, come on now, you coming straight out of pocket. You know what I mean? You know, that would have been us back in the day. Get what? You know what I mean? Our lips would have been on the ground talking back to us after we done disrespected our parents, especially out there in public.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I guess for me, I think that those
absolutely.
4 things should be something that should be established, though. I mean, if you're not being taught those 4 things, I mean, what other principles can you stand on besides those? I mean, for me, honor and respect are the two top ones for me. Followed by loyalty and fealty. If you're gonna disrespect, if you're gonna dishonor me, then I damn sure know you're gonna be. If you dishonor me, then I know you're gonna disrespect me. I know you're gonna be disloyal to me. I know you're not gonna show loyalty to me. So when you do one, from the way I see it, if you do one of those to me, the other three gonna follow.
I think I think this is another issue about it too. I might be all over the place, but just stick with me real quick. If you say you got your father in the house, but your father never had no guidance from his father, and he never had no guidance from his father. Now here you are, ain't none of these men in your family had no guidance, so you never really had nobody to teach you. He might know some other basic stuff like like the mechanicals are a different thing, but like as far as teaching you morals and honor and integrity, if your dad didn't grow up around that, it's gonna be hard for him to show you that. That's like having an absentee dad in the house. That's like they say you can have there's a difference between a man in the house and having a man of the house.
Yeah.
I don't know if that made sense. I was just wondering how it came out.
That's true.
You know what I mean? You looking at no. It may put. I don't mean to interrupt. You know what I'm saying? It may plenty of sense. You know what I'm saying? Because you looking at the substance. You're looking at the substance. You know what I'm saying? Either you're gonna get something that's saying it's gonna be diluted, gonna be watered down, or you're gonna have something that that you're gonna formulate something too. But like I said, you know what I mean? You can only expect so much, especially if someone hadn't been exposed to that. So when you look outside the house, when we had a structured community, as far as like a neighborhood, you know what I mean? Hey, you might have had, a play uncle down the street that might have shown you something, you know what I'm saying? Might have, spread some nuggets on you and everything. You might have another person, you know what I mean? You looking at influence, you know what I'm saying? As far as the influence that's out here now, the influence out here now is straight bullshit. You know what I mean? Ain't no substance to it.
Yo. Oof. Go ahead, Skyler.
Yeah, true that. We talking about. I'm having trouble hearing a little bit. We talking about the T.I. and his son.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of it, yeah. But it also brings about other questions for me.
Yeah.
We about larger questions for me.
Yeah.
So we're talking about that.
Okay.
It's it brings out larger questions for me. Bigger questions. Like what are we really standing on? Like what are the things? Like first question was principles. What type of principles are we standing on? Are we standing on the ones that we were taught as men, the ones that our fathers and our grandfathers taught us, that were taught that their fathers taught them, or are we standing on ridiculousness?
Right. In my opinion, what we standing on as men on this call, I think it's safe to say our upbringing was a lot more different than modern boys to men now.
Yeah.
Because like you said, even if back then, even if the father wasn't there, the grandfather was there. We always had somebody to kind of catch us before we may have been influenced by the streets. Now today, the music, the rappers, everybody else who got that quick microwave blessing shine about them, that's what's influencing these younger guys now. And the difference is, like, we can listen to a rap song and be like, okay, that's cool. Now they can listen to a rap song and be like, oh, that's how I should live my life. And it's the wrong formula, So I think, me personally, I believe that on down the line as a generation, and not to get preachy, but it talks about this in the Bible as well, how generations become a little, drifting away a little bit. But
yeah,
the world is starting to influence instead of men with old school principles that we were, based our foundation on. And I think the whole, even with the T.I. and his son thing, like T.B. Scott said, man, you got to count. We don't know if T.I. had it that around either. And then on top of that, a father could take consistency. And that ain't T.I. fault. I don't know his life, but if that is, I noticed in that situation where before it got out of hand, the mama came quickly and was trying to like, I guess calm King down. So that let me know, all right, she coming, she trying to de-escalate it. They both trying to de-escalate it. Because like bro said, it is he was like, you embarrassing your family. But I think that's a lack of just being instructed, like on principles, respect, certain things. I think it was missing because of the lifestyle that T.I. had to have. He was busy. He can't really control that. You in demand, you know what I'm saying? He could control it, but he still got to feed his family. So I agree with T.B. Scott when he said, it's kind of hard to be something you was never taught.
I agree.
I agree. It's did any of y'all see the situation that happened with this rapper named D1 and Rick Ross and Jim Jones? Are y'all familiar with that situation?
I saw that.
So basically, even what he said with that, I agree with that. I'm a Meek Mill fan.
I didn't see that.
Oh,
which
basically, he was basically saying, how these rappers today, they got an image to uphold. Like you got Meek Mill, you're the face of prison reform, and then your songs you out here talk about putting a bag on somebody's head or doing this, and this. You're sending conflicting messages, and a lot of the kids today, they don't understand. A lot of these rappers today are millionaires. They're not doing this shit that you think they're doing. You know what I mean? It's like Future. You come to find out Future doesn't even do lean, but he promotes it in his music. And the kids say that they don't know no difference. They think it's real.
Nope. That's true. Jeez.
That's true.
And I saw that.
You can go back in the 90s. Spice One exposed that. You know what I'm saying? Talking about studio gangsters.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm saying, you can go back into the 90s when Spice One exposed about studio gangsters. You know what I mean? You're portraying a lifestyle, you know what I'm saying, through your lyrics, even up to now, as far as, even with the Young Thug trial going on, they trying to use his lyrics and everything as far as, depicting real life. You know what I'm saying? So, we don't know what goes on, you know what I'm saying, when the cameras shut off, you know what I'm saying, at the end of the night, you know what I'm saying? But what is shown before us, just like, going back to the actual footage, you know what I mean, when they were going back and forth and everything, you know what I mean? Somebody could have easily cut the camera off, you know what I'm saying? But they proceeded to let it play on, you know what I'm saying? And when they did that, you know what I mean? I'm like, shit, y'all clout chasing. You know what I mean? But you got a status that you have to uphold as far as, you know what I mean, you making this amount of money and you being this influence on people.
Yeah. And somebody had to be accountable, at least responsible enough to turn the camera off and let that situation hash out, like from child to parent, instead of letting it roll on like that. And I agree with you, Frank. Somebody should have had the responsibility or the account, at least the wherewithal to turn the damn camera off and say, look, and be like, let them hash this out as father and son and mother and son, and not let this be something that's for likes and clicks and shit.
Yeah, that's true. They got way too far. It took too much time for it to get escalated like that.
Yeah,
they got way
very
too far.
much so.
Yeah. But you know what? That goes back to this too. We don't.
Yeah, because you know what I mean. King was brought in.
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Can
Go
you
ahead,
hear me?
Frank. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
no, okay. No,
Nah,
now I was gonna.
go
Oh,
ahead.
now I was gonna say like today, and what's his name? Sterling. He brought it up earlier. We don't discipline these kids no more. I had this woman I used to work with. She used to always had to come and call, leave work early because her son was always doing something. They had no man in the house, and like the job was on their last straw with her and things that her taking off to go deal with her son. And I told her in the car, I'm like, listen, you might want to go ahead and get your son under control, get him around some other males because you're gonna keep letting him do his little shit out here in the street, and it's gonna be a nigga out here that's not gonna give a fuck about your son being a kid. If he gonna want to play a grown man game out here in the street, they gonna do him as such. So if you don't get him in check now, the streets gonna get him, and you don't want nobody in the streets who don't give a fuck about no kids to get him.
Yeah. Go ahead, Frank. Damn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like these women don't.
Hey man, that's true, but you know what I mean. It take two to tango.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And us being adults, man, you know what I'm saying, being parents, you know what I mean, there's no instruction book to that, as far as the mother and father, you know what I mean, have to, come to a medium, you know what I'm saying, a collective medium, you know what I'm saying, for that child, you know what I mean? Because me, an example, I'm a girl dad, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of people tell me that, man, oh, it's so hard raising girls and such and such and everything. But I can raise them to be decent human beings, but they still need their mother in order for them to be raised as a woman. But
Exactly.
me being the man and her being the woman, us coming together as that collective and being co-parenting and making stronger and putting all the bullshit to the side. I'm gonna say it just like this. This past Friday, my youngest daughter graduated from Columbus State University with her degree in health sciences. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do it
Congratulations.
by myself. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? With the family, with their mother, you know what I'm saying? With her husband, with everybody, man. We're adults. We came together and we made it happen, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's just not with her being the youngest, but my middle daughter and my oldest daughter, also with my 5 grandchildren. You know what I mean? We came together, man. And I'm talking about really truly about a village, you know what I'm saying, raising one. We came together to make it done, you know what I'm saying, make it happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm a living testament to that. You know what I mean? So it takes two to tango. So with that accountability, you know what I mean? See, a lot of people don't want to have them hard conversations. You know what I mean? Especially when concerning your child, because one parent want to be better than the next parent, but guess what? That child need both of y'all and need to see both of y'all, you know what I'm saying, communicating, you know what I mean, and knowing that y'all coming together as a better collective. And guess what? That's what's going to expose that child to, as far as, being able to deal with the different adversities outside the home, because all the other influences are coming from their peers. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have a structured household. You know what I'm saying? And then they're gonna get pressured against the wall, peer pressure and everything, because they're gonna be looked at a certain way. You know what I'm saying? But we got to prepare them. You know what I'm saying? I go by the 6 P's. Proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. So we got to prepare. You know what I'm saying? Not only prepare ourselves in order to prepare our seeds, in order for them to be harvested correctly, in order to go out here into this world and be able to live in it.
Yo. Oh yeah. That the P's, the 6 P's, the 6 P's again will get you through a lot. Because if you properly prepare, your performance will not be poor.
Exactly.
Because most cat
Yeah.
I don't think
That's true.
I'll say this as being a child, being the middle child of 3 boys. My father made sure that we were prepared all the time. Whether it was whether it was elementary school, whether it was high school, whether whether it was baseball, we played baseball from 8 years old up to high school, and then I played at junior college. So I do the and then even when I went to the military, I do the benefits of proper preparation. But I also knew what happened when you didn't prepare properly, when you did. prepare properly. So it would come out bad. You wouldn't get the result that you would have gotten if you prepared the right way. So, and you're right, Frank. You're right, Frank. And I agree with all y'all. I mean, we got to be able to, as men, we have to be able to prepare our children the right way. You know, that right way is different for every last one of us. But I think it is based upon certain principles, basic principles that I think we all, to the very least, should have been taught. Some of us have been taught that, some of us weren't taught that. But even if we weren't taught that, we have to at least find a way to be taught that, so that way when we do have kids, or when we do enter into these interpersonal relationships, we come in with those principles, and we're prepared to deal with what we're prepared to handle, whatever is being handled. You know what I'm saying? Because, like you said, Frank, proper preparation prevents poor performance. And I don't know about y'all, but I want to be prepared all the time. And for me, that is a force of habit for me now. It is based on how my father taught me. We were always prepared no matter what. Even if we were blindsided by something that we weren't expecting, we always had. My dad always said. My dad always told us, have a plan B, and plan C when plan A goes to shit. So I agree with y'all, man. I really do.
Yeah.
And I think we have to be. We have to be in that
mindset. What they say? What they say? Yeah, stay ready. You ain't got to get ready.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you stay ready, you ain't gotta ever get ready.
Yeah,
for real.
Ever gotta get ready.
But you know what hurts us a lot too? Social media.
Yes, sir.
Yes. It's funny that you talk about that, Troy, because me and Frank were talking.
Well, you know, with social media, you know, we could be whoever we want to be.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem.
Big problem. But it's funny that you mentioned that, Troy, because me and Frank were talking about that like a couple of months ago, and we were talking about how social media has duly influenced a lot of aspects of who we are. It purports aspects of who we are without being truthful, without being honest about it. But one of the things that I do blame social media for a lot of that stuff, but I also blame a lot of these quote unquote manosphere podcasters and stuff like that, because some of the things they talk about, and I'm not coming after anybody, but I am making something clear. Some of the things that they talk about are not even relevant excuse me, our development as men. Some of the stuff they talk about, I mean, of course, some of them, they have points and things of like, they have certain points of context and things of that nature. But for the majority of it, it's not, excuse me, it's not conducive for us as our development as men. Because if I'm a man, excuse me, I'm always trying to learn. I'm always going to try to figure out things. And I'm always good. I guess the way I was talking about my father, I'm trying to be fair across the board, across the line. And when I try to be fair across the line, it's cool. Everything turns out the way it's supposed to. But Troy, I find it real interesting that you brought the social media part up, because, like I said, me and Frank were talking about that for a while. And we were talking about that. We were talking about that doing what you call his birthday celebration, weren't we?
Yeah, doing Straps EP release.
And the point that you made,
can you hear me?
Brother. Yeah,
we were talking about doing Straps EP release, And us as black men, yeah. And then looking at social media, being portrayed a certain way, it is totally different from the black men that we surround ourselves with or that we may come across. You know what I'm saying? Just acknowledgement alone, give us that upper hand, give us that alliance. And come on now. I'm not, I don't know where you come from, you don't know where I come from, but guess what? Hey, this color right here don't come off. You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
It don't come off. And already our backs are against the wall, you know what I'm saying, just because we're men and then we're black. You know what I'm saying? So, it's systematically already set against us. You see what I'm saying? So, hey, we have to, keep that bond strong and regardless of our differences far as social status, far as financial status, far as family status, we have to keep that bond strong and be able to have those conversations with each other.
Yeah.
You know what?
We
And
gotta
and,
have
and,
it.
and just adding to what he's saying, it's like there's a war against black men out here. It's a war, whether it be in the real world, and it's definitely one on social media. And we as black men, we there are black fathers out there that's doing. First of all, let's just dispel the myth that black men don't be in their kids' lives. That's a stupid stereotype because there's plenty of black men involved in their kids' lives. But we got, like you said, we're standing on business. What are we teaching our kids? And more importantly, what are we teaching our sons? You know, it could be simple stuff like showing them how to fix a car, showing them how to do this. Like you talk to these white kids, they got these memories of what their dad showed them how to do. These kids today have no memories of their parents showing them any fucking thing. You know what I mean? You got some that do show their kids, but it's like, man, what are they teaching their fucking kids? Like I had old heads around me, but I didn't have like a lot. I don't know nothing about. If you ask me to fix a car, I don't know nothing about fixing the car because I've never had nobody show me that. I know how to do some other stuff, but we as men, especially black men, we got to get in there and really get in there and show our sons. We got to get in there and show our daughters because a daughter is going to pick a guy. If she's around her dad, depending on her dad, she's going to pick a guy like her dad. You know what I mean? But if her dad is thoroughly in her life like that and brought her up on something, she's not going to let no jokers in her life because why? Her dad was the measuring stick. She saw what her dad and her mom went through, and she's not going to let these jokers come here. I remember one time my nieces,
True.
somebody came to pick my nieces up one time. And you know how niggas nowadays, they just honk the horn and don't even come to the door no more? She goes running to the car. I'm like, where are you going? She's like, my friend. I'm like, no, bring your friend here. I said, I don't ever want to see you run for the ho honk. She said, what's the ho honk? When a nigga don't want to get out of his fucking car and honk his horn and you come running out the door like a dizzy bitch, that's the ho honk. Because a real man that wants to see you is going to go to your door. He's going to knock on your door. He's going to make sure you get to the car safe, not sit in the middle of the street and honk for you. And you come running out the door like a dizzy hoe.
Yeah. That's hard to come by, bro. I mean,
Hey
so
man, that's a cold piece.
it is,
Yeah.
yo.
Cold
It
piece.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, when you can break down reality like that to your daughter or to your son, and they take that and they can, they can take that and they can extrapolate what you're trying to say. That's teaching right there, dog. That's teaching. That's teaching, bro. That's teaching.
Yeah.
So
It's passing. It's
so
passing.
we so
Yeah,
we
that's
so now we're
passing
gonna
on
get to
those
the
nuggets,
question.
man. 'Cause, yeah.
No, go ahead, brother.
No, go ahead.
So one of the things. So the question the question I wanted, and then this is the burning question that I asked the last time when I was on, but I answered it, but it didn't come out right to me. You know what I mean? So remember when King said he stood on business, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the question I'm asking us as men, if we are standing on business, whose business are we standing on? Whose business are we standing on? there's a lot of things there's a lot of ways we can break that down. There's a lot of ways we can break that down, but I'm gonna let y'all go in first. So it don't matter. One of y'all can go in, and we'll get it cracking.
Well, first of all, I'm gonna say it like this: my business ain't everybody's business. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, you know what I mean. Business is to be handled accordingly. You know what I'm saying? It's not to be broadcasted. You know what I'm saying? So how I'm like this. You know what I mean? Because you got a lot of people that's out here that trying to pay their rent off of your blueprint. You see what I'm saying? So your business is handled accordingly. And look at have it look like the art of war. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to throw a distraction out there in order to secure your own solution. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And you know what I mean? You can't just put everything out there on the table because you know what I mean, everybody not gonna understand it, they're not gonna respect it. And guess what they'll do? They end up taking it and using your own business against you.
What they say, a
Man.
listening ear is a running mouth.
All every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I thought about when
Yeah, it definitely is. You know what I'm saying? Because man, come on, man, you stand on business, but you ain't talking about handling business.
Exactly.
look. So I'm
That's
steal
what
that, Frank.
tripped
I
me
hope you
out.
don't
You
mind.
standing on business, but how are you handling your business?
So I'm gonna steal that, Frank, and I hope you don't mind. My business ain't everybody's business, and it's handled
Nah, go ahead.
accordingly. I love that.
No,
But
go ahead.
one of the things I want to
Yeah,
add to that. One of the things I want to add
yeah,
to that though
yeah.
is this. What is my business? My business is my children. My business is my spouse. My business is me. My business, and I should handle all of those accordingly, especially when it comes to the business of me. If I'm not right, if I'm not right in my soul, I'm not right in my spirit, what am I going to do about that to get myself in the right frame of mind? Certain things. If I'm not right in my mind, what am I going to be in the right frame of mind? Because, and I'll say this, and I'm hoping that y'all agree with this. The business of me has a trickle down effect because if my business with myself internally, spiritually, mentally, physically isn't right, the business of my family isn't right because all the issues I have with the business of me trickles down to my family, and they feel the effects of that. What y'all think about that?
My business is pretty much the same like yours. My business is my wife,
That's true.
my
You
my
are the F.
kids.
You are the F. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Huh? Oh, and I was gonna say, no, my business is my wife, my 5 kids, and my grandkid. My business, Mr. Chronic Black Presents. You know what I mean? That's first and foremost for anything. Take care of the family first, because like you just said, your family foundation is not right. Nothing else is going to be right. You know, that's my business. My business is making sure that everything is straight, not just not just in one particular way and everywhere. Because men, we got to get back to being leaders of our house. We got to get back to being leaders of our fucking house. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. Without that foundation, because that's where the foundation starts. It's too many boys in males' bodies, but we ain't got enough men really taking the fucking lead.
Yep, that's true. Come on in, Frank. Come on in.
Yep. But hey, let me shift the perspective. Let me shift the perspective a little bit. Two things: my faith and my peace. They're also my business because without those ingredients, You know what I mean? I won't be able to extend the olive branch out to my family in order to nurture them. You know what I'm saying? To keep that motion going. You know what I'm saying? So starting out with yourself, with your faith and your peace, you know what I'm saying? That's when you'll be able to, you know what I'm saying, exemplify that olive branch that you are extending out to any and everybody that come across you. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that you can't extend it out to everyone, but guess what? That's why it's called trial and error. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And you
Yeah,
never give up.
yeah, man. That right, those two things right there are powerful pieces right there. My peace is my business because if I'm not at peace, then everything's in chaos.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, for far too long, a lot of us as men, especially us as black men, have lived in
Yeah.
chaos, and that's not. I put it like this: that's part of that is designed, and then part of that is our own fault.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that. So it's 50-50. The 50% of it that's designed is the socio-political malfactors that still affect us as black men. The other part of that is the other part of that is self-inflicted. We've done that to what we do that to ourselves by
Yeah.
making poor choices, not only poor choices in women, but poor choices in life decisions. And then we don't take we're not taking account we're not taking accountability for those choices. And then the lack of accountability for those choices pile up. And then now what? Now we have other issues. Or better yet, we have unrequited issues in our youth or past traumas that we haven't addressed, that we haven't properly addressed, or we haven't even confronted or even attempted to conquer. And also, one of the things I say, and I say this a bunch of times, and this is something y'all could probably jive with me with. It all goes back to to me, it goes back to going back to that little boy that dwells in all of us as men. We got to go back. We got to go back and heal that little boy in us as men, because that little boy in us has been exposed to so much shit, and some of the shit that we exposed that little boy to, we buried on top of him. Expected that little boy to take the weight of all that, and thinking that that little boy's gonna be okay with all that. We gotta unpack that. We gotta unpeel that. We gotta take all those layers off and get back to that person, because when you look at that little boy got scars, fresh wounds of all varying degrees of healing, tear stains, blood stains, all kind of stuff. And how do you deal with that? A lot of people say, well, why don't you just try to heal?
Yeah.
No, why don't heal? You don't do you you comfort that little boy that's in us, because that little boy's been exposed to all the shit that we've been that you put him through. All those wounds and all those tear stains were a result of your choices. Why not heal that person, heal that little boy inside of you, and then that permeates outwards. But
Yeah, that's true. You know what I mean?
go ahead, man.
Well, look at it like this. You know what I mean? We all need to do a inventory check. You know what I'm saying? And we'll fall with that within that inventory check. We need to know what the trash is and what can be biodegradable to of value. You know what I'm saying? What can be
Yeah,
recycled. You know what I mean? And one thing I would say, you know what I'm saying, my daughters have taught me as far as, you know what I mean, therapy is good. Everybody needs therapy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But it's going to be a process of finding that person that can relate to you. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But I look at it like this, sometimes my own therapy is, you know what I'm saying? I would say, you know what I mean? It's the therapy of within the men that I have within my circle. You know what I'm saying? Because we relate to each other and we're able to break down everything that we're going through without any judgment. You know what I'm saying? And with that right there, you know what I mean? Hey man, look, just let it loose. Look, there's no boundaries. You know what I mean? And look, we're gonna be here, you know what I'm saying, for each other. And you know what I mean? Because hell, you know what I mean? You have to go through a process to, for professional therapy and everything. But sometimes you have to use the ones that within your community, like I said, within your circle, you know what I'm saying, in order to break things down.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You have to decompress, you know what I'm saying, the bullshit that you've gone through. You know what I'm saying? But it's some people out there that may recognize it, may not recognize it, but guess what? You might be healing that person too in the same sentence.
You know what's crazy?
Man.
And you said at the beginning of your show, for the Man Cave intro, this is a safe space, and a lot of men today need a safe space. You know, men. I understand women go through stuff too when they're coming up, but no one really talks about a lot of things that men. When we grew up as men, we weren't allowed to do a lot of things. Most of those things we weren't allowed to do. We weren't allowed to feel. We weren't allowed to cry. We had to, as Denzel say, we had to man up, nigga, every 5 fucking minutes. So when shit happens to men, because we don't have that safe space, we don't have the safe space to talk, we bottle all that shit up. And no one likes it when all that shit that's been bottled up in the man spills the fuck out. Because it never ends good for any fucking body. But if men don't have a safe space to talk, if men don't feel like they're being understood, they feel like they're being heard, yeah, you're just doing more psychological damage. And social media is doing a damn good job of helping to fuck destroy men's heads up even more. Because now if you look at social media, you feel a man's worth is only in his pockets and his dick. I don't never hear none of these women saying what kind of characters they're looking for in a man. It's all he got to make this amount of money, he got to fuck me like this, and he got to pay all the bills. I can't do half. None of these hoes are saying they want a man of morals. They want a man that stands on some actual business. They don't want that. Your worth is in your bank account. If you let social media tell it.
Nope. I say nay. I say nay. Because that is a disingenuous assumption, number one. It's not towards you, TB. It's not towards you. It's toward what you're saying. That's a disingenuous assumption. It's assumption based upon no fact. Because if that's what you wanted, because that's what you wanted, then you will be going after the people that have that.
Mm-hmm.
But then you realize that those guys have standards and have morals and stuff like that. And if it did, some of that, most of that don't jive with a lot, don't jive with some women. I mean, and like I said before, and I'll say this again, a lot of things that we as black men have endured, like I said, it's a half and half deal. Half of it is the social malfactors that are the social political malfactors that go against us daily, and then the rest of it is us. Lack of proper choices, lack of direction, lack of seeing things and people who they are as opposed to what they can give us or what they present to us. But the other one is not properly healing, not properly healing ourselves from whatever hurt or trauma that we've endured. I mean, that's not cool. That's not cool. And like you said earlier, Troy, safe spaces have to be this is a true space, because it doesn't matter, because it don't matter to me. We can talk, we can laugh, we can cry, we can have those emotional bonding moments, and it's cool. Just like Frank said earlier, in the spaces that he has, we're able to build and not feel and not be judgmental. We as black men, we have to be able to build and not feel judgmental about and not be judgmental about what another man feels or what another man says or how another man's what another man's going through. Because trust me, every struggle that I've been through, I'm pretty sure you, Frank, have experienced it. I'm pretty sure you, Troy, have experienced it. And every struggle that y'all been through, I'm pretty sure that I've experienced it in some shape or form. Why not take that knowledge and build off that? What I can, if I'm going through something that Frank has experienced, I can bounce it off him. Hey, Frank, I'm going through this. What did you do to help you get through this? And vice versa. You know, what business are we standing on? The main business. And Frank, you said, Frank and Troy, y'all put it so eloquently. The business is my business. Ain't everybody's business that is handled appropriately. But when I handle my business, I need to handle it correctly, because if I don't, it has a trickle down effect and everybody else is affected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm talking about, man, it's sad to a point where, you know, man, a lot of people wanna speak on things, but they've never experienced it. You know what I'm saying? You know, it'd be a lot of outside noise. You know, a lot of times people just be talking loud and saying nothing. You know what I'm saying? Just to sound good. You know what I'm saying? Might
Yeah.
not have even experienced what you've gone through, but give you some type of opinion input. And guess what, man? I'm talking about, it can lead you straight to a brick wall.
Yeah.
And who the hell wants to run to a brick wall?
Shit, not me.
Not me. But you know what though, guy? But you know what though,
Nah.
Frank? To your point, we find ourselves running to those brick walls all the time because of lack of knowledge, because of lack of safe spaces, also the lack of just being able to trust one another with a burden. So we do run to those brick walls. And what makes it hard is that I know, well, I can only speak from my own experience. The minute I run into a brick wall, I'm
Yeah.
not reaching out to nobody else. Because the minute I hit that brick wall, not doing it. Because at that point, if I don't get hit, this is a bad habit of mine. This is a bad habit of mine. If I don't get help within a specific time frame, then I'm just gonna throw it away. I'm just gonna throw it away. Because for me at that time, if I don't get the help, it wasn't really important at that moment. So I either circle a file it, or I'll just put it back in a further
Yeah, but see that.
to reset my mind. Go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
No, you good. That's why I say, you know what I mean? That's why I say we have to do an inventory check, because, you know, by you suppressing it, only thing it gonna do, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Only thing, look, I think it's a saying that, you know what I mean? Shit, you know what I mean? Shit sits long enough where it gets to a point where you don't even smell it no more. You know what I'm saying? And then it's just there. And you know what I mean? You can't suppress it to the point like that, because something's gonna come along that's gonna trigger it and bring it right back to the forefront. You know what I'm saying? You can't keep sweeping dirt up on the rug and think it ain't gonna eventually show. You know what I'm saying? You know, you have
Yeah.
to try to nip certain things in the bud, but knowing that if you can't nip it in the bud, but you're trimming away at it to come to a positive solution. See what I'm saying? Because in order to recognize that you have a problem, you have to first admit to it. When there's no admittance, that's where the accountability comes in. And you know what I mean? You're not gonna get no type of resolution towards it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Facts. Straight facts. And that's something I have to learn how to be better at. You know, instead of just kind of burying it and not addressing it or dealing with it per se, I have to be better of just kind of just when it happens, allow it to happen and then deal with it accordingly, then handle it accordingly. So I have to be better at that. So that's me. That, I guess that's me. But again, you know, I hate I guess one of the things that I don't like, I don't necessarily like to hear all the time that someone says I stand on business. Well, what the hell type of business you stand on, bro? Is it the business of you, the business of your family? Is the business of your peace and your prosperity? What business is it? Because if you just go give me the textbook answer that I'm standing on business, and I ask you a direct question, and then you still say you stand on business, then you're not standing on anything. What y'all think about that?
Yeah. And then plus two, you know what I mean? Do you have anybody solid around you that can co-sign on it?
Influence is real out here because
they're not called influencers for nothing.
Exactly, but the funny part about it is, and I think me and Frank touched on this. We were at
Definitely
the Straps party. I think me and Frank touched on we were on the Straps party. It's easy for somebody to put a battery in our back. It's so easy, especially as a black man. It's so easy for a woman or some other dude to put a battery in our back. Just for us to get tossed up over something that could have been readily avoided.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why would I want another dude to put a battery in my back? Why would I want a woman to put a battery in my back?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know, we can't live our lives on the edge all the time.
No.
Yeah.
I
you can't live your life on the edge all the time. You know what I'm saying? You have to, you know, be able to circumvent, you know what I mean, things that are going on around you, because guess what? That's what's gonna trigger you.
Yeah.
Ty. Get out of my head, bro. Get out of my head. Please get out of my head. Stay out of my head, bro. I don't know. I think one of the things, like I said, it's a lot, man. It's a lot for us as men. We already have enough going on as black men. We already have the tremendous weight of the world on our shoulders. Not to mention the way there's fathers and grandfathers or husbands. But we also have the weight of, you know, working, dealing with the outside influences. I'll tell you about the outside and the inside influences. The influences that we always come against when we outside, and then the influences that we come up against when we're inside. And the conflicts and battles and battles that both of them ensue. And I guess one of the things that I've tried to do, and I don't know, and I guess I want to pose this question to y'all too, with all those conflicts and battles going on from outside and inside, how do we as men, you know, differentiate the two and fight each battle on its own separate front, or do we fight both battles on the same front?
You were breaking up on me a little bit. Which two battles?
So the battle that what happens when we go outside, when the influences that we battle with outside, and then the influences that we battle with inside when we come into our homes.
Okay.
How do we fight those battles? Do we fight on the same front, or do we fight them on separate fronts?
They two different beasts, man. They two different beasts, because whatever you got going on outside is going outside. That might be work. They might be dealing with stuff like co-workers, your job, bills, whatever you got going on outside that house is going to be a whole nother stress than when you come home and dealing with that fight in that house. I think everyone, men and women, have all had a moment where you sat in your car and really debated, do I want to go in this house right now after the day you just had? Because you didn't have to deal with that. Now you got to come in here and deal with this. So it's two different battles. It's like you gotta choose your battles wisely. Because if you can't bring that battle from outside to the inside, because then it's going to really wreck everything.
Funny part about that is those battles extended to each other, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So how do we deal with that? With those two fronts extended to each other?
That's a tough one.
Got any ideas about that, Frank?
I'm gonna go back to faith and peace. You know what I'm saying? Because faith without works is dead. You know what I mean? And all battles are not ours to fight. And we have to realize when those are not our battles to fight. You know what I'm saying? Because the tongue is a very powerful weapon. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we just need to use our eyes, our ears, and keep our mouths closed. You know what I'm saying? To survey the battlefield. You know what I'm saying? Because we could speak things upon ourselves, and thinking that we whooping somebody else, we ain't doing whooping ourselves. You know what I mean? So I go back to our faith and our peace. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times, man, the battle is of the creator and not ours, because we can't fight everything. We can't fight everything all the time. You know what I'm saying? And us being the men, you know what I'm saying? Hey man, look, we gotta be mediators at times also. And we also have to look in the mirror and check ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because what we may think may be the problem might be staring us right in the face. You know what I'm saying? But we have to realize that by taking accountability.
Lord have mercy, Jesus. A whole word right there, son. A whole word right there. And it is something. You're right. Sometimes it's better to observe than it is to act. Because if you act at the wrong time, you might really just spark off what you should be sparking off.
Yeah. You gotta know what you're walking into.
I'm pretty sure y'all can believe. I want to know if I walk in. I want to know if I walk into a hornet's nest before I walk into a hornet's nest.
Yeah. It's like this. But see, that constitutes on you knowing what you're capable of. If you know what you're capable of, guess what? You already know if it's gonna pop out to be a firecracker or it's gonna blow up to be TNT.
Yes, sir. That is the difference between a big explosion and a small one. Because if it's a small explosion, it's manageable. Because if it's a small explosion, it's manageable. But if it's something big, nope, it's not manageable. And you ain't gonna be able to escape. You're not gonna be able to get out of the blast radius. That I love that, bro. I love that, Frank. Because you gotta know whether you're dealing with a firecracker or or TNT.
Yeah.
If you ain't careful, because a firecracker, you can hold that in your hand and that's fine. You don't think you'll get it, that'll sting a little bit. But if TNT, dude, that's different. You gotta be outside of the blast radius, because if you're not, you're gonna get caught up in that blast wave, and that'll either damage you or destroy you. Lord have mercy. Well, I'm telling y'all, this particular conversation right here is something that I'm not going for it. We need to have these types of conversations often. Simple fact of the matter being is that, well, we just do. We as men, especially black men, we need to have these conversations, y'all, because if we don't have these conversations, where are we going to be able to draw help from? Who are we going to be able to draw help from? Who are we going to be able to draw inspiration from? Who's going to inspire? So because I can say this as a man, as a black man, there are a lot of men out here that inspire me. You know, there are two gentlemen that are on this screen right now, or two that do. You know, there I can just from knowing Frank for the short time that I've known him, I know that this dude's a man of wisdom. You know, I know that he's lived a life of experience. You know, and just for rocking with my boy TB Troy for a while, we've shared our own personal experiences, and we both leaned on to help each other when we needed to, when it was needed, and when it was available, or better yet, when no one else would listen, and you had that one guy that will listen, and you know he's gonna listen. Let me call him and find. Let me call him. Talking about this situation. Let's see if he got some insight for me. And we need to be more of that towards each other. Trust me, if Frank or Troy called me when they had a situation and they needed to talk to me about it, they just needed me to be an ear. My first thing is gonna be, okay, sure, let's talk. Matter of fact, you talk, I listen. And that's the way that's how I am. It'll be without hesitation. I'm not here to be judgmental. I'm not here to say you were wrong or you were right or anything. I'm not gonna say that yet, because I'm not gonna pass judgment on somebody. Not even right here on everything. I'm still not gonna pass judgment. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna talk to them based upon what I've heard, but also based upon what I know. If Frank tells me something and I know for sure that he's wrong, or he possibly could be wrong, like, hey, bro, you maybe you could have handled that a different way. Maybe you should have approached that situation this way, and if you would have handled it this way, you would have got this result. And it's not about. Listen, y'all. It's not about tearing each other down. Because shit, society at large does that to us any damn way, and we as black men do that to each other as well. But if I can say something if Frank can come to me, or if Troy can come to me, and vice versa, and we can have a conversation, and it's not judgmental, it's not adversarial, and it's not antagonistic. Of course, we're gonna agree to disagree. That's part of a discourse. But at the end of the day, it's all love and it's all respect. Because at the end of the day, for me, no matter how much I disagree with Troy, no matter how much I disagree with Frank, there's always going to be respect there. Because number one, I'm going to respect him as a human being. That's what number two.
Watch that. Course. I'm trying to keep this. Yeah, I'm on an interview right fucking now. I had that. Hold on, my fault.
Number one, like I said with Frank, number one, I'm going to respect him as a human being. Number two, I respect him as a man, because if he respects me, he's got respect for me, then he's going to respect he's going to respect my opinion, even if it's hurtful. Even if it understand truth does hurt. Yes, it does. But the truth also sets us free. I think that we as black men, when we learn that and understand that, I think that's when we'll have a lot more understanding about how we approach each other in conversation, how we talk to each other, how we can speak life into each other without being antagonistic or negative. We need to have more. We need to have more of these types of conversations. I mean, of course, what we're standing on what we stand on as men is a big part of that, a large part of that. But it's up for us as men to understand what we stand on, and whatever we stand on it, and we stand on that unequivocally. We stand on that without failure, without anything. But we also have to recognize that if we're standing on something that it's not, and it doesn't jibe with us, or if it's something that doesn't that we're standing on it because everybody else is, and and if we know in our heart and our soul it don't agree with us, then we have to take another stand to say that's not right. This is what I'm standing on is the wrong thing. I need to reevaluate. I need to reconsider. I need to think this over and figure out if this is what I really want to stand on. Because believe it or not, y'all, the things that we stand on could either help us or hinder us. And I'd rather have something that I stand on to be a help than a hindrance. Because we might be a whole bunch of shit that hinders us. It's about high time we stand on things that help us. I don't know. Just an opinion of mine. Just an opinion of mine. But yeah, but look, these conversations, like I said, these conversations got to happen. They need to happen. If they don't happen, then I don't know. If we don't have more of these conversations, everything about us is gonna be thrown in the handbasket. And manhood is something, healthy manhood is something that's gonna be mocked or not even talked about anymore. I'm a proponent for that. But yo, man, we gonna get up out of here, man. But before we there he is, he's back. There he is. So, but yeah, man,
okay. We back up and running, man.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, man. I'm like, so before we sign off and we go back to our lives and stuff like that. I want both of y'all, you and Troy. I want y'all. Well, first, I'll start with you, Frank. Tell everybody who you are, where they can find you on social media, as well as give the brothers on that's watching this something positive they can roll on. They can go on. That'll help them get through not only tonight but the rest of their week.
Well, I say it like this: one day at a time, one moment at a time. And also, when you look in that mirror, tell yourself that you love yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, you're not going to be able to love anybody else. You respect yourself. You know what I mean? You are a good person. You are a decent man. You know what I'm saying? You are, heartfelt. You're respected, and that you're loved. You know what I mean? Keep that positive affirmation going. And then, you'll start watching certain subtle things start to change. Because, everything starts with you. And then it trickles out into the world. Because if you don't have anything positive that you can pour into yourself, you're not going to be able to pour into anybody else.
Boy.
Yeah.
Come on, Troy. I know you can top that one.
Now, I can't top that one. I can add to that one though. But it's just like basically be you. Just be your authentic self all the time. Don't do nothing to impress nobody. People, they either gonna fuck with you or they ain't. People already got their minds made about you. Live in your truth, man. Live in your truth. Don't worry about nobody else. If 18 people say this is the right way to do it, and you see for yourself that it's wrong, die on that hill, stand on that. And another piece of advice I would give, I seen this on a Facebook meme. I think it's funny as shit, but it's true. A crackhead always has the best advice. They always say some shit like, "Young blood, at the end of the day gotta end."
I agree with that, and I think I'm just gonna add to that now because as we get ready to roll out here, one of the things that I look at, and I look at this a lot, is what we leave behind. What are we leaving behind for our children? What are we leaving behind for our children, for their children? And the word legacy always comes to mind, but it's not up to me. It's not about what people pour into us. It's not about what we pour into people. It's about what people pour into us. Because what we put out is just as important as what we take in. Are we doing enough to leave behind something that's gonna last throughout the test of time? Are we giving our children, our sons and our daughters a fighting chance? Are we properly equipping them with the tools that they need to properly wage war? Not just the wage war on the account of war, but waging war strategically. Learning when to fight and when not to fight. Learning when to hold ground and learning when to hold fast and when to retreat. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with retreating, y'all. But we have to think about what we're leaving behind. Matter of fact, what we're pushing forward. I don't want to say the word leave behind because that's cliche. What are we pushing forward to our children? Because when we die, when we leave this planet, everything that we have, they're gonna bring forward, not behind. They're gonna take up whatever mantle that we get, that we leave with them, and they're gonna push whatever that is forward.
Exactly.
So I think about so the one thing I want us as men to think about as we conclude tonight. What are we leaving to our children that they can propel forward? Because if we're not leaving a mark on our children, and I don't mean the mark of just birthing them or creating them. That, to me, that's a given. The mark of creating them with the person that we created with, that's a given. The mark I'm talking about is what we teach them, what we instill in them, what we inspire them to do, what we allow them to aspire to be.
Well, let me add this point to it.
Come on.
Yeah, let me add this point to it. You could reciprocate a victory, or you could replicate a tragedy.
Dropping bombs over here. Dropping bombs over here. You can look. You can either. I gotta let you say that again, man. Go. I gotta let you say it again. Say that one more time.
Hey, you could reciprocate a victory, or you could replicate a tragedy.
Look, and I think that everybody, if you really think about what he's saying, it makes sense. Because victories are always reciprocal. Tragedies are something that's always repeated, because if you're not learning the lesson, you gonna repeat the same thing over and over. A victory occurs when you learn the lesson and you don't repeat it again.
Exactly.
Tragedies happen when you don't learn the lesson. You keep repeating it over and over and over and over again. And I think we all know what that is. That's a circle of insanity. And I think, and one of the things that you made, that you brought, that you said with that statement right there, and it makes this abundantly clear for me right now, is that we as men are living in this cyclical thing, this circular thing for quite a while now. We because we're told we can't feel anything, or we can't have emotions, or that we're not valued. We live in this cyclical thing, this cyclical type of this cyclical situation. And most of the time, we live in this situation too by ourselves, because we feel that we're not valued unless we meet certain conditions, or that our feelings or our emotions are valued because, well, you're a man. You're a man. It don't matter. You don't supposed to have no feelings no way. And we as men have to learn how to break that cycle. Because if we don't break the cycle, one of the one thing that my man Frank said, we will continue to replicate tragedies. Tragedies of boys growing up without their fathers. Tragedies of black men and boys out here dying young. Tragedies of men deleting themselves because they feel that life isn't worth living because of where they are, where they feel. Those tragedies will continue to be repeated until we break that cycle. It's gonna take some time, but with the right people, with the right people and the right words, it can be done. And I strongly believe that it starts with the gentleman on this screen. As we roll up here, man, I want to invite you. Any man that's under the sound of my voice, I want to invite you to come into Man Cave Conversations. I promise you, this is a safe space for you to be your authentic self. This is a safe space for you to feel. This is a safe space for you to express what you feel. This is a safe space for you to be you without judgment. This is a judgment-free zone. Around here is love, is love and camaraderie. There's going to be correction, of course, because in order for us to grow, we have to learn to be corrected. And correction is not an easy process for none of us to deal with, or to handle, or to even endure. But it needs to happen for us to grow. This is a safe space for you to be who you are. This is a safe space for you to be who you are. I can't stress that enough. One other thing that I'm stealing from my man Frank is that we have to affirm to yourself daily that you are loved, that you are respected, that you are cared for. If you can't affirm these things to yourself, then nobody else, like Frank said, nobody else is gonna extend that to you. No one's gonna extend respect to you. No one's gonna extend love to you.
Nope.
And as a matter of fact, no human being has to even give you any of these things, whether male or female. They're under no obligation to respect you. They're under no obligation to love you. They're under no obligation to care for you. If you tell yourself that you love and you respect yourself daily, it really doesn't matter if someone says that to you or not, because you love yourself. And you love yourself enough to know that you are worth it. It's time for us as men to stop saying that we're not worth anything. Because trust me, we are worth it. We are worth everything. You want to know why we're worth it? Because Why we're worth it? Because we're worth it to our children, our sons and our daughters. We're worth it to our grandsons and our granddaughters. We're worth it to our spouses. We're worth it to our friends, to the friends and families that the friends that we keep, that the true friends that we keep close to us. And you're worth it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to love yourself. You owe it to yourself to respect yourself. You owe it to yourself to be authentically you. You owe that to yourself. To the very least, if you don't give any of that to any person in your lifetime, at least give it to yourself. Because at the end of the day, even though other people don't think you're worth it, you are worth it. You are worth it. I can't stress that enough. I want to thank my brothers, TB Scott and Frankly Speaking, for joining me tonight. Brothers, I truly enjoyed y'all tonight, man. Also, my man Skylar Randall, he had to hop off because of some connection issues, but I most definitely appreciate him for being on tonight too. This was a great conversation, and we most definitely are going to have a part 2, y'all. Because there were 3 other questions that I did address for we'll most definitely going to have a part 2 to address those 3 questions. But brothers, I enjoyed y'all. I really did. Y'all are amazing. If ain't nobody told y'all that today, y'all are amazing.
Same to you, bro.
Hey man, I appreciate it, man. You're amazing, also, man. Look, yeah, same to you. And let's get ready for part 2, man.
Yes, sir. Part 2 is on deck. I promise you, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank y'all for tuning into the first episode of Man Cave Conversations. Trust me, we gonna have more of these types of conversations in the near future. I won't say in the near future. We gonna have more of these conversations in the months and the weeks and months to come, because brothers, we gotta talk. We gotta talk. Like Joe Rivers said, can we talk? That's the question I'm asking. Can we talk?
You ever watch wrestling?
Let me talk to you.
Yeah, you know exactly where I was going to it.
Let me talk to you. We gotta have those conversations, y'all. Look, as always, when I close out these things, man. Oh well, before we go, man. First and foremost,
yes, sir.
I forgot to throw these announcements out here real quick. Let me do that right now. So look, tomorrow, Girl Chat Weekly is in the building. Latanya Harris Gooden is in the building. We're gonna drop some nuggets on y'all. Also, don't forget. Let's see I think it's T-Way to the Point on Wednesday. Have no idea what he's talking about, but I know it's gonna be something good. Thursday, I think I'm going to do an episode of reviewing another couple of books. I'll let you guys know that as the time comes. Friday, I'm supposed to have a guest, but I'm not sure. I got to find out what he's going to do as far as having that guest is concerned. But hey, look, if you want to be a guest on this platform, hit me up via email at trailblazersradio@gmail.com. Or you can reach out to me on Facebook at Frederick Beatty. I'm very approachable on Facebook. Or if you guys want to reach out to me via Instagram, reach out to me on Instagram at Mr_Beatty. Or you can reach out to me at Trailblazers Radio on Instagram as well. We're also on Twitch, and we're on pretty much any audio streaming platform that you can think of. Apple Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. We're there. As a matter of fact, I just uploaded like 7 episodes this afternoon before I came up on here. So check out those episodes that I uploaded, man. And also, man, just follow us on our YouTube channel, man. We got a lot of content on our YouTube channel. If something on that channel jobs with you, or for you it's relatable to you, or you can resonate with it, hit subscribe, hit the bell notifications as well. And then be notified of what we got going on, man. Like this is the start. This right here is the start of something that's gonna be very beautiful. Very beautiful. I promise you, very beautiful. I need y'all, brothers. I need y'all to tap in. Because when y'all tap in, It's gonna be you gonna see brothers like TB. You're gonna see brothers like my man Troy here, like my brother Frank on up here on the screen. They're gonna be unapologetically who they are. And they who knows, they might drop a nugget or two that's gonna help you navigate life. Because trust me, as men, we all navigate this life. We navigate it differently. But at the end of the day, it all leads to a finish. And how we finish, matter of fact, I take that back. How we start, just as important as how we finish. Matter of fact, it's doubly important. It ain't about how you finish, it's about how you start. If you start poor, you might finish poor. But if you start poor and then you gain ground, then you might finish strong. But at the end of it all, we all gotta finish. Ask yourself how are you gonna finish? You gonna finish strong, or you're not gonna finish at all?
Because at the end of the day gotta end.
Yes. At the end of the day gotta end. And what are you gonna do when that day is? What value have you brought? Have you brought value to yourself, or have you brought value to somebody else? If you ain't did neither one of those, I'm not gonna say it's an epic fail, but it is a failure. Because you haven't did anything to improve yourself. That's one to grow on, y'all. As we roll up out of here, man, 3 things I always like to say when I end these shows. Number 1, take care of each other. Number 2, love on each other. Number 3, it's a crazy ass world out here. So please, above all things, y'all, please take care of y'all. Please take care of yourselves out here. Y'all be safe out here. Please and thank you. Be safe out here, y'all. I love y'all to life. I love y'all to live. Until the next time, we are gonna be about here. I love y'all to life. Peace.
Peace.